For the second part of our holiday in northern Belize, we had booked into a lodge in a quite different habitat, on an island, in a lake. As the crow flies, it wasn't that far from Chan Chiche to Crooked Tree, but crows don't have to follow roads, which were few and far between on the route. The wide, flat pastureland we found after Blue Creek looked pretty spectacular, especially after the lush rainforest we had experienced at Chan Chiche. We noticed a shallow lake, possibly just a temporary flash, which seemed to be full of jabberoos. It needed a closer look. You can't just drive past a whole load of jabberoos, after all. We counted 72 jabberoos on the flash and in adjacent ditches, along with white ibis, black-necked stilts, great blue herons, snowy egrets, and a few wood storks. Jabberoos are large storks, found in Central and South America, from Mexico to Argentina, with the largest numbers being found in the Pantanal of Brazil and in parts of Paraguay. Although considered widespread, they are not abundant in any area, so 72 in one place was a real treat to see. They are the tallest flying bird in Central and South America. The memorable name, jabberoo, apparently means swollen neck in one of the indigenous South American languages. It is such a memorable name that it is sometimes used for the black-necked stork of Australia and even apparently for the saddle-billed stork of sub-Saharan Africa. A few lesser yellow-headed vultures in the grasslands added to a very refreshing stop on the long road south. Now we had to push on, unless we wanted to arrive at our destination in the dark. We ended up crossing the causeway to Crooked Tree around 5 p.m. Crooked Tree is an inland island, completely surrounded by lagoons and rivers. The southern part of the island is mainly wildlife sanctuary and boasts a bird list of 300 species. Bird's Eye View Lodge, right on the edge of the lagoon, south of the causeway, was the place to stop. Our booked room was on the ground floor and was dark and a bit pokey, so we negotiated a swap for one on the upper terrace, which had a nice view of the lake, and settled in for our first night, saying hello to the resident black spiny-tailed iguana on our way down to dinner, which would be the Caribbean standard of rice and beans. It was quite a change from the casual elegance of Chan Chiche, but quite comfortable, nonetheless. And the stunning sunset and moonrise viewed across the laguna after we returned from dinner was very memorable. It rained overnight, for the first time on the trip, and it did delay our birding on the next morning. We were going out today, to the historic Maya site of Altan Ha. On the way we birded the causeway, adding Yucatan bobwhite and Yucatan woodpecker, and pulling in bare-throated tiger heron on the way. The name Altan Ha sounds pretty Maya, but it's actually a modern translation of the name of a local village, Rockstone Pond, into Yucatan Maya. No one knows what the site was called in antiquity. Unlike Chan Chiche, quite a lot of the site is excavated. The rear of the pyramids were generally left with a shroud of earth and grass, and it was possible to clamber up the rear of some of them. It made an impressive sight when looking down into one of the plazas. The early ceremonial core of the site was Plaza A, with structure A1 being the most important building. A royal tomb was actually found under the floor of this building, containing jade objects and a rare codex, or book, dated from 550 CE. Plaza B gained importance later and was found to have many elite burials with vast amounts of jade objects. The most important building of Plaza B was structure B4, also known as the Temple of the Masonry Altars. It wasn't all ruins, there were a few birds too, but the heat, crowds, and relentless reggae music were getting to us. We retreated back to Crooked Tree for refreshments and a look at the pines, an area of the wildlife refuge that we hoped would have some birds. And it did. Great views of acorn woodpecker, always enjoyable, and a good ant swarm attended by melodious blackbirds, laughing falcons, and Yucatan woodpeckers. The constant repetitive calls of the yellow-green vireo had been a feature of our time in Belize. In the shallow marshy areas we came across wood stalks. And vermilion flycatchers, like this female, were a feature of every wire fence. It wasn't high season for birding, but we were still hopeful of a boat ride on the lagoon. The lodge told us, over that night's rice and beans, that one had been arranged for the next morning, before breakfast. We just had to hope that there would be no repetition of today's wet start. The weather was a bit grey at first, but we were off at 6 o'clock a.m. and soon seeing a few birds. The first bird of real interest was mangrove vireo, which sang and showed well, to our delight. Our boatman picked his way skillfully down to Spanish Creek and we added several species, notably black-collared and great black hawks as lifers, and tricolored heron, rufous-browed peppershrike, yellow-tailed oriole, osprey, and boat-billed heron for the trip. We headed in for our late breakfast and decided what to do next. We really hadn't spent all that long birding the island, so we thought we'd tour the village and see what we could find. The village, and the wildlife sanctuary, seemed to have got better at marketing themselves as one of the premier wildlife viewing destinations of northern Belize, but, back then, we had never seen so much rubbish piled up in gardens as we did around Crooked Tree. It made it difficult to warm to the place, which is a designated Ramsar site, after all. We went off again to the pines, finding Yucatan jay, northern cardinal, plain chachalaca, and a rose-throated becard. Bat falcon was a welcome addition, as was a tropical mockingbird. Male vermilion flycatchers glowed in the sunshine. Acorn woodpeckers are always worth watching. And a tropical kingbird added a little exotic flavor. Plain chachalaca roamed the grasslands, olive-throated parakeets squawked from the trees and short-tailed hawks soared overhead. It wasn't a bad haul for a hot afternoon. That evening we took a night drive after dinner, finding a Central American boa stretched across the road and, unfortunately, newly dead. Someone else had made that distinct tire depression in the poor thing's body. The next day would be an expedition to another Maya site, Lamanai, if we could find it. Most visitors took a boat trip from Orange Walk, but we were going to try overland. The signage was not good and we had no sat-nav. Just a vague idea of where it was. Long story short, we did find it, surprising the ticket office staff by appearing from the car park and not the river. Lamanai, meaning submerged crocodile, is the only Maya site in Belize that still carries its original Maya name. Most of the site is not restored, so the structures that have been excavated loom out of the rainforest, quite impressively. It all looks very green and isolated, once you get away from the main tourist complex. The site was first settled around 1000 to 800 BCE and was not abandoned until the late 1600s, having one of the longest periods of occupation of any Maya city. It was a trading center for obsidian, jade, and cinnabar from Guatemala, and salt, cacao and honey from the coast. There was also copper from West Mexico, a rare metal in the Maya world. The small museum on the site had a display of ceramics, found smashed on the site and reconstructed. There was a particular form of incense censer shaped like a human torso, called Chen Mul figurines, thought to depict various gods and goddesses, and the incense burned in them would invoke the particular deity featured. Dense black clouds of smoke were believed to carry the rain and wind needed to grow crops. The ceramics were later deliberately smashed, as a ritual connected with closure of a temple area or burial site. It wasn't all archaeology. Between the plazas were areas of thick rainforest where we enjoyed good views of birds, martmarts, jacamars, flycatchers, and the like. Back at the central picnic area, we were entertained by a troop of Yucatan black howler monkeys making their way through the trees. Time to head back to Crooked Tree, a trip performed easily by retracing that morning's drive. Back at base we were entertained by a russet-naped woodrail which was happily wandering around the lodge until it saw us, when it beat a rapid retreat. We were coming to the end of our Belizean trip, just one full day to go. For the last day we decided on a trip to the seaside. Most visitors to Belize are located on the Caribbean coast. The turquoise waters are famous, but we hadn't yet seen them. Anyway, we were hoping for access to a little mangrove habitat to boost our trip list. On the way to the coast, a singing black catbird was a nice surprise. The coast itself actually held little, apart from magnificent frigate birds and a brown pelican, and the mangroves were inaccessible due to a recent tropical storm. So we quickly changed plans and concentrated on visiting Shipstern National Reserve. At the reserve you are allocated a guide and then taken on a walk, all for a very small fee and a not small amount of surprise that we had actually found the place. We saw a few more birds around Shipstern, notably ferruginous pygmy owl at the nest, and Caribbean dove. The guide knew there was a nest hole on the park, but had no idea where it actually was, before we pointed it out for him. Watching the adult owl with prey, and an owlet popping its head out of the hole, was definitely a highlight of our visit to Shipstern. It seems that the park has developed somewhat since we were there. There is a proper visitor centre, a restaurant, and even a birders' lodge, with en-suite rooms. It offers a variety of guided trips, for wildlife and culture. It really looks like a great place to explore. We definitely didn't see its best side in our brief visit. The next morning we set off back to Belize City and the airport for our flight home. It was only 56 kilometers to the airport and we were able to do a bit of roadside birding, including checking out some pools we'd passed on day one as we rushed to Chan Cheech. It gained us a trip list Amazon Kingfisher, so well worth it. A green season, 10-day trip to Belize, not an ideal time for the birder, had got us a very respectable 197 species with 49 lifers. And we were pretty much neo-tropical newbies at the time, so more experience and a better idea of where to go would undoubtedly improve on that. For more information about our trip, we have a travelogue available, as paperback or ebook, from Amazon. If you like birding and wildlife stories from all over the world, why not check out more of our videos, all available on our YouTube channel. If you have enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.